It's so weird to me how I have like the same camera in the same room with the same light on, and it ends up looking so different on different days. Anyways, right. So I don't know. I can't think clearly. I really need to go outside, get a walk or something, go somewhere, do something. But it is fucking miserably cold outside. I'm not gonna do that. So I'm just kind of spinning around here. And there's definitely a some degree of marijuana smoke just in the air, which is not helping this situation. Uh, and part of what I'm thinking is, I don't know. I just keep thinking like about the reasons not to fucking go to Taiwan. But at this point, it's too late. Basically, I'm just going through buyer's remorse, is what it comes down to. The decision has been made. It's too late to back out. Um, but the reasons I'm thinking are, for starters, there's definitely this feeling that I've had before. It's sort of like the feeling I had when, when my dad sent me back to Minnesota from Colorado, or when I was in solitary confinement for 30 days. And it's like this thing it's like killing somebody without actually killing them, like killing them psychologically, killing them emotionally. Like it's like dealing the amount of psychological damage that is like on par with death, but without physically harming them at all. That sort of thing. Uh and it's just this not good feeling that I get, and that I've like inflicted on people throughout my life intentionally, because that was inflicted on me, and then I felt like that was the right thing to do. So I would like just drop people and just, you don't exist to me. Boom. You don't exist to me. In my mind, you're dead. And I kind of feel like I'm doing that again right now, like to myself, like to my life here. The life that I have created here, I'm just throwing it in the garbage. And on the surface, I'm like, that is exactly right. My life here is fucking worthless. The only thing that I've cared about, the only thing I've put time into is this business, which is really more of like a concept than a functioning business. And I'm working on that, but like everything else in terms of like the people I'm around, the people I hang out with, the activities, it's all been, as I've said many times in these confused ramblings, It's all just temporary bullshit to keep me from going crazy while I attempt to move forward with my business. That's what it is. And if I continue to think in those terms of like, fuck everything else, just fuck everything else, and just focus on the business, you keep pushing the business forward. There's no reason why being in Taiwan is a problem. There's no reason why being in Taiwan is worse for moving my business forward than being in the US. Honestly, I think probably on net, it's better to be in Taiwan than to be in the US. Um, but I don't know. There's something, and it's kind of like I have a kind of this is like a kind of nice apartment. I mean, it's not a nice apartment or whatever, but like compared to where I lived before, it is nice. Compared to living on my mother's couch, it is nice. And it's the same thing I did in China where it was like, you start out in like a fucking dorm style, like a hostel or whatever, and then yeah, move into like have a little just a bed in a room. The room is only slightly bigger than the bed itself, and no like laundry, no ability to do laundry, like a squat toilet, and that's all, and no, and then it's like, and then by the end of my time in China, it's like, okay, I have and nothing else, like nothing else going, no money, no friends, no nothing. And then by the time 2015 comes around, I have a wife, I have a baby, I have a posse of Chinese friends, I have a posse of American friends. We go out and we get wild, and I have fun every time I go out. I don't even need any money to go out. I have a nice 2-bedroom apartment. I've got a couch. I've got like a life, and then I just throw it all away and start over in America from scratch, from nothing. And it feels kind of bad. Like there's a part of me that's the one throwing it away, and then there's a part of me that's looking at that guy like, dude, do I mean nothing to you? You can just throw me away like that. But like on net, yes, like all in both cases, like I don't know, in Zhuhai, I felt the same way I felt now. Is that all of my friends, all of my relationships, all of my shit was just this temporary bullshit distractions that I had developed in order to keep me from going crazy while I started my business. So, those are things, those are words. What else we got going on? And I'm sure like I'll develop, so the same thing will happen in Taiwan. Maybe I have to start out in a hostel. Maybe it sucks. But again, there's no reason why I can't be making progress towards my new life in Taiwan right here at the same rate that I'm developing this life in America. In fact, I can show up in regardless of whether it's Taoyuan or, which by the way, I said this whole thing yesterday about how I wanted to go to Taichung, and the whole time what I was thinking of was actually Taoyuan. Taoyuan, not Taichung. I am not going to Taichung. There's zero interest or chance of going. The reason, okay, so the thing is, Hualien is the most isolated place, the most isolated city in Taiwan. So if I go to Hualien, I mean, the reason for going there is not because it's the best place to go for business or any other reason. It's purely for strategic reasons. And if I go to Hualien, by the way, I think I'm gonna like get into like prepping and shit. I'm gonna be like a survivalist. I'm gonna learn how to kill mountain lions and live off of them. That's the plan. I won't actually do that. There's zero chance I'm gonna actually do that, but that's the plan. But if I go to Taoyuan, I mean that's just like the best place. If I just want to go make money, just go start a business, do business, be a business person in the business factory making business widgets and just make money. Taoyuan is the spot, not Hualien. But in the event there's a conflict, Taoyuan would be the worst place to be. Not really. Taichung would be the worst place to be. But Taoyuan would be not a good place to be. Hualien is probably the best place to be. That said, I don't know what I'm talking about. It could be that in the event of a conflict, I find out very quickly that I was totally wrong, and all of the things that I thought that led to me making a decision one way or the other were totally wrong. Maybe Hualien's the worst place to be. Maybe it's going to attract like missile strikes. Maybe the PLAN can get to the other side of the island with zero worries. Maybe the Americans and the Japanese have zero interest in attempting to destroy a blockade. Maybe being isolated is its own danger instead of a form of safety. I don't know. But no, I mean, for starters, like the amount of natural resources around there and the amount of population there means that in the event we are cut off from all supply to the outside world, from the outside world, if we don't have power, we don't have nothing's coming in by ship or plane, nothing. You could survive in Hualien. It would be hard in Taipei. It would be hard in Taichung. Maybe like Kaohsiung would be okay, but like in Hualien, if you're preparing ahead of time, you can be fine for months, for an indefinite period of time, and then just wait for the evacuation. Or honestly, by the time they take, if ultimately Taiwan falls, then like by the time they take Hualien, it will be it's over. It's done. Like, so, okay, now we're under the control of the PLA. That's just what it is. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Like, I guess if you're in Taichung or something like that, and there's an invasion, and there's like a beachhead, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like, I guess it's like there will be moments in time when you have to decide whether or not you're going to attempt to surrender. There could potentially be these moments. And it's very much like what is the city in the Ukraine where what's the city the furthest Luklavio something, like in Kiev. It's like there was moments where it was like, should we surrender or not? This is a tricky situation. Like, do I present myself to the Russians as an enemy combatant? Or, and by the way, just to be clear, I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. These are fantasies in my head. I'm very aware of that. So this is just my surmisations of the situation. And anybody that is actually like familiar with modern day conflicts probably thinks I'm a fucking idiot. But anyway, so there would be moments in Kiev where you'd be like, okay, do I surrender or do I be an enemy combatant from the Russians' point of view? Like there would be tough moments where it was a tough choice. Whereas in Lviv or whatever, like if that shit is about to fall, it's over. It's over. I don't know. Maybe even then it doesn't even matter. I did say yesterday that like Hualien is the Busan of this conflict. And Busan, I mean, when the only thing that the Americans and the South Koreans had held on to was Busan, that was not, it was not at all the case that it was clear that they should surrender. Quite the opposite. And even if it fell to the PLA and we were living off of the fucking land in Hualien, in the event that there's a counter invasion coming on the East Coast, that would be around Hualien. So we would be the first ones liberated. So actually what I was just saying about how it's like, it's going to be, there's less iffiness, like either you've already lost and you should surrender, or that's totally wrong. There's so many scenarios where that's not the case. But I don't know. Still, it just seems like there's a bit of a buffer between where the initial beachheads are going to be and Hualien. And so you have a lot of time to like understand the situation before it gets to your doorstep. Should you go hide in the mountains? Should you try to get the fuck out to Japan? Should you, whatever. And like, there is potentially even situations where like trying to leave from Taipei or Kaohsiung or anywhere in between is going to be impossible and dangerous, but attempting to evacuate from Hualien is totally feasible. Things like that. So I think like just being located in Hualien gives you a certain amount of strategic freedom of movement, to use a word salad. So anyways, but I don't know, maybe that's fucking retarded and I should just go to Taoyuan and just be where everything is convenient and there's the most SEO agencies and I can just talk to as many potential clients as possible right away. And Hualien is so isolated. If I want to go to Taipei or something, it's just going to be impossible. Like I'm just going to be fucking stuck there. And it's almost at that point, living in Hualien, it's almost like if there is no blockade, if there is no invasion, if there is no crisis, then I'm gonna be sitting there like, why the hell am I in Hualien? This was the dumbest decision I've ever made. So it creates a perverse incentive where you're hoping that there is a crisis. Okay, anyway, so what was I talking about? I'm pretty sure that was all an aside. Okay, so I think I was talking about, I was going through the reason, and I'm sure in my life in Taiwan, I'll set up a life in Taiwan, but the life I have here, I'm just abandoning it horrifically. And but the only I don't know, like the only thing is like the only thing I should really feel bad about abandoning is my kid, my daughter. But I don't ever see her. I never see her. I never take care of her. The only thing is we talk on the phone. We could talk on the phone when I'm in Taiwan. There's zero reason. Like I'm just as much of a parent there as I am here, and so I don't even see that as it being any different really. And then, my family, I don't see my family at all. I don't see them at all. I don't go to any fucking family functions or holidays or anything. So like if I'm overseas, it actually makes more, it's like, then I don't have to, they would have invited me, but I'm overseas, and it's like, I don't have to be like, oh, actually they're like a couple miles away, but they just don't want to be around me because I'm fucking insane. And I mean, I'm not that insane. I'm reasonably insane, but it's just inconvenient. My life has been inconvenient for them. My whole life has been inconvenient. I'm just an inconvenient person for them. And eventually some people will pass away. Somebody will die somehow. And then when they do, the family dynamics will be forever altered. And at that moment in time, I'm sure suddenly they'll be like, oh, we want you to be part of the family, Uh, some people, not. Anyways, so what else am I tossing away like a piece of garbage? Lots of things. But here's the thing. I mean, I've done this before. I did this. It's not just like when I first moved to China. It's like I did that when I left Beijing. The same thing. I started in Beijing. When I first went to Beijing, I lived in a hostel in the south side of the city. And it was just random people coming and going. And then it went to the off season, and there was just nobody. I was just the only person in the hostel, and I was walking around the streets of Beijing with no money, just studying Chinese all day, eating like a bowl of rice and an egg, the tea eggs. um, and that's how it started. And I was in that situation for like 2-3 months, and then I'm gonna try not to get into all the. Then I like took a random trip up to the north side of the city. I happened to stumble across like a booth where the Juren English School was like doing a thing. I talked to some of the English teachers. They offered me a job. One of them offered me a place to stay. Now I have a job and a place to stay. I started making money. I started going out. I met all sorts of people. I met people from all over the world. I hung out with the fucking son of the Italian ambassador and fucking all these Italians and the rich Swiss guys and the fucking French that grew up in castles. And, we went to like the fucking hip parties in Beijing and hung out with rich people. And like I was the private tutor of these fucking rich entrepreneurs in Zhongguancun, and then enrolled into Renmin University and met all of these people that are probably running China right now. And like, it was all, and then I just fucking and I slowly I moved from the hostel to like a okay apartment to like a kind of shittier situation, and then finally I was in like this super nice 2-bedroom apartment that the French guys had given me after they went back to France, and then I just fucking abandoned it all to move to Taiwan. For no fucking and for no like nobody understood why I was moving to Taiwan at that time. Nobody was like nobody. Not my family in America, not my friends, nobody in Beijing, not a single person that I talked to could understand why I had chosen to take this life that I built from nothing in Beijing and just fucking blow it all up and move to Taiwan and once again start over with nothing, with no money, going to 7-Eleven and eating the tea eggs. I can't even afford a Danbing. And living in a hostel that I can barely pay for, that I have to go like negotiate. I'll pay you 2 weeks from now. And like desperately working these stupidest English jobs that I don't even want to do and going to interviews that I don't want to for jobs that I don't even want. And then again, slowly but sure, and being like lonely as fuck and having no money and no friends and nobody. And then again, meeting people, getting a job, getting a place, enrolling in school, building up this this life, and then having friends and family and women and girlfriend and side girls and money coming in and all of this, and enrolled in the best university in Asia, and then fucking decide blow it all up, throw it all away, move to Hong Kong or move to Macau, and then I did it again and again and again, just fucking build up a life for like 2 years and then just destroy it, just abandon it. So I'm doing that again. That's just what I'm doing again, and I don't know. I guess one thought that always haunts me. Is that when I was a teenager, I worked at the Mall of America. I worked at the Orange Julius in the Mall of America. And, it was obviously a terrible job. Anybody, and I got paid $7 per hour, maybe less. And you're like covered in sugar the whole time, and I wasn't good at it at all. I had terribly. I was thinking about, it wasn't like a stimulating job. Obviously, it sucked, but like looking back, I was like, you know what? Anything like this is just the shittiest possible job. That job, perfect. If you just stuck with it, like, because anything leads to anything. Everything leads to everything. Like, you could do that job and just um you could become an assistant manager, and then once you're the assistant manager, you can become the manager, and then once you're the manager, you're in charge of accounting, and you're in charge of scheduling, and you're in charge of payroll, and you're in charge of inventory, and like these are skills and knowledge sets that are transferable to so many other businesses, all sorts of businesses, and you're like starting to think about supply chain for a large enterprise, and like the rent at the Mall of America, and how like the revenue compared to the rent, and like so anything, even an insanely shitty job like that, like the only thing that's limiting your ability to turn that job into something else is your ability to connect the dots between that job, like, because everything is connected. Like, there's only 6 degrees of separation between that person that's making your orange Julius at the Mall of America and Elon Musk. Like, if you do the jumps, it's there. So so it's a waste of time. From that point, from that mindset, it's like a huge waste of time to be constantly jumping back and forth from one thing to another thing to another thing, because everything is connected, but you're starting over at the beginning every time you make that jump, I guess. And so it's like, oh, I'm making that jump again, just starting over from nothing, over and over and over again. And it just feels kind of fucking stupid. That said, I do also kind of have a feeling that the thing that I went to Taiwan for, or like I didn't complete my mission in Taiwan, and then my mission has nothing to do with the political situation or the impending possible war. It's just that, like, my situation in Taiwan was shitty. In fact, of all those places where I said I built up a life, but in Taiwan I never had my own place. I never had a nice place. I never had a good girlfriend, like a solid girlfriend, for a long time. I just was in the dorms and studying, and it was my life in Taiwan was never logistically feasible. At no point was my life logistically feasible in Taiwan, which is why I got horrifically depressed and moved to Hong Kong one time. And then why the second time I just played poker all day and every day until I overstayed my visa and then moved to Macau. So I never actually got to experience Taiwan when I have a semblance of a life there at all. Like some income, some stability, something. So again, my mission in Taiwan in terms of that is like not complete. I never got the Taiwan experience that I got in Zhuhai and Beijing and even Macau and Minneapolis, and for that matter, DC. Yeah. I also never got that experience in San Francisco, I will say, but I don't care. I don't need to have that. I don't need to have a life in San Francisco. That's never something but I do want to, so it's like on my bucket list. Two things are on my bucket list. My bucket list is like to have a life in Taiwan. That's one. And then two is to die in a free and independent Catalonia. That's partial. I'm mostly joking about that one, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like I'm gonna die in Guangdong. If I die of old age, like if I die, like if I just like fade out, I feel like I would like to do that in Guangdong. That would be my preferred place to do it. It's not like a political thing at all. It's just purely like I just want to, in my last days on Earth, when all I can do is eat soup, I want that to be Guangdong soup, you know? I don't want to have to be choking down fucking American hospital food. I want that soup. That's all. It's really just the soup and the weather. The soup and the weather. I mean, Taiwan has nice weather. Guangdong has better weather than Taiwan. Taiwan's weather is a little more extreme. When it's hot, it's a little too hot. When it's rainy, it rains harder. Guangdong is like it's a way more mild. Like it's mostly really nice, and it's just honestly, I will. Yeah, no, like sometimes, some evenings walking along the street or walking along the ocean in Zhuhai, you just feel like I didn't know it was possible for a place to be this comfortable. It's so fucking nice. And that's where you would want like to live out your last days. When you're in the wheelchair and you know, and your cells are no longer differentiating properly. You should be in pain all over your body, but you're not because your nerve cells aren't even nerve cells anymore. And you're like eating soup. That's you want to be in Zhuhai. Although obviously there's a lot of scams in China and people taking advantage of people that are vulnerable. But you know, I think that's less in Zhuhai than other places by a lot. For some reason, the people of Zhuhai are, I don't want to say they're like good people, they're like wholesome or hearty people or anything like that. There's just not enough. There's just not enough bullshit going on in Zhuhai. It's not like a sex trafficking hub or like a human trafficking hub, or like there's not enough like huge like factories with huge numbers of workers. Like there's just not enough going on there for like the true dredges of society to be there. You know, compared to Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Dongguan, Beijing. I've never been to Shanghai, so I will refrain from comment. Yeah, and I mean, as much as like in my mind, I'm going to be in the bunker in Hualien. There's a whole nother side of the Taiwan experience that I never got, which is that if I had a stable life in Taiwan, I think that I could interact with the people from AIT. I could interact with these NTU grads that I actually went to NTU with, regardless of whether they are Taiwanese or they are foreigners. You know, like the upper echelons of Taiwanese society would be open to me, to the extent that that's important to me. Which is something I cannot say about America. I can't say about Minneapolis. I can barely, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the casinos and the comedy clubs. I don't know. That was kind of fun. It was kind of a fun thing. We were getting somewhere kind of ish. But Ali and Mo are like not productive enough. And it takes more of my energy to get them being productive than the amount of productivity I get out of them from all that energy. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Obviously, Ali is infinitely more productive than Mo, but even Ali is like not really like moving along at the speed of light. And it's just stupid to like, how do you say it? Bank my hopes? Is that a phrase? You know, on them. It's definitely better I just go to Taiwan by myself. It's better I do it if I'm going to be like dying of loneliness and confusion, I might as well do that in Taiwan. I'd be like if I'm like here like just too lonely to fucking function, I would be better off in Taiwan than in America. Kind of, I think. That said, Taiwanese society, Taiwanese culture, much like Japanese, there are these invisible barriers between people. It's like everybody has like a force field around them, and you have to like first like, hello there, you know, let's let's initiate an interaction. Um like space, like Star Trek ships, establishing contact each time you interact with a human. So when you are feeling lonely, it can feel like extremely isolating, because like in America, it's like kind of like anybody around you might start interacting with you at any moment in ways you don't want even. Whereas in Taiwan, it's like, hold on, like you didn't follow the protocol. There's a bureaucratic procedure before we have a small interaction. But honestly, even that, I feel like I feel like a huge part of that was for me not knowing how to interact with them, because I was coming from mainland and they weren't interacting like mainlanders, and that was confusing to me. But I feel like, first of all, the difference between the Northern Chinese and Southern Chinese, and having spent more time in Southern China, where they are a little bit more reticent than Northern Chinese. Not a little bit, a lot. They're closer to Taiwanese in that regard. And then secondly, just the fact that like I've watched so much Taiwanese television, and like I doubt that I'm going to be trying to interact with them like a mainlander, the way I was doing the first time around. And so I don't think that would be such an issue. Also, if I'm anywhere other than Taipei, because Taipei tends to be a place where people are like fashionable and have money, and like there's just high density. So when there's high density, people try to avoid each other. But in a place like Hualien, it probably has a bit of a small town feel. Maybe everybody knows everybody, and it's sort of obligation that you go meet people and talk to them and get to know them. And probably a very small foreigner population. So as a foreigner, you're going to be pretty well known pretty quickly. That'll be my guess. Again, though, I don't know. Maybe I should just go to Taoyuan, because in Taoyuan I could hit up, like I could physically go to like 20 businesses per day and be like, hey, I made you this demo. I made you this video. I sent you an email. I called you and left a voicemail. This is me. I'm the guy that did that. Like, can you give me 5 minutes of your time? And I could just go to like 20 different like marketing agencies, online marketing agencies per day, let alone like hotels or restaurants, stuff like that. Danbing places. I really want to just do the marketing for a Danbing place, not just one, like for all of them, like a Danbing directory and a sandwich. I'm gonna do an encyclopedia of Taiwanese sandwiches. So, glorious. That is a problem. Another problem with Hualien, though, is that like the thing I love most about Taiwan is the milk tea and danbing combo that is available on every block at breakfast. But that's pretty much a Taipei thing. Like when you go to other places, they're there, but they're like there's a few of them scattered far away. It's not like you have like 20 options on one block the way you do in Taipei. So, yes. So I'm throwing away this life here in Minneapolis that I have built up, like it's nothing. And it's part of me is hurt by my own throwing away of my own life, And then there's this like the feeling of like, well, what do you do with that hurt? And the feeling that the coping mechanism I developed when my dad did that to me, or I had to go back and forth as a child, that was the thing. I would build up a life in Minneapolis, and then I had to abandon it and go to Colorado or New Jersey. And then I would build up a life in Colorado, and then I had to abandon it and go back to Minneapolis and start over from nothing in Minneapolis. And then I would build up a life in Minneapolis, and then I got sent away to Arizona. And then when I came back to Minneapolis again, starting from nothing and not being allowed to hang out with my old friends, and just over and over and over again, it's these like 2-year cycles of like building something up and then abandoning it, building it up and abandoning it. and I've been stalking them my whole entire life. So, anyways, I don't know. Like, if we were to, yeah. So back to that, like the point of the whole Orange Julius thing is like, so if I were to stay here and keep calling comedy clubs and keep making demos I keep making videos and keep working on the comedy database and work on the Northeast directory, and keep trying to find customers and keep working with Ali and Mo and keep going to comedy events on an almost nightly basis and building up my Instagram, building up the Instagrams of the other people that I work with in comedy, we would get somewhere. We would do something. I mean, it's just like last night was just like I did a set. I was fucking happy with I was amazed at my set last night. Like, everybody laughed at every single joke except for the fetus soup joke. And I'm so glad that that's the case, because I wouldn't have even really realized that they were laughing at all of the other jokes if it weren't for how hard the fetus soup joke bombed. Like, when I said that and I got no response at all, it was like dead silence. I was like, oh, people are laughing at all my other jokes. Like, I didn't even realize that there was like, oh, like that's so odd. It's so like obviously like, so that means all the other jokes were actually okay. Like, they were getting laughs. Like, I started out with, first of all, I started with a improvised joke, which always, every good set I've ever had always starts with an improvised joke. But I think if I were to like have that as a rule, like I have to improvise a joke then it wouldn't work, because it's like, the point is, it's not that I have that as a rule, it's that I was in the right state of mind to be improvising jokes. And when you're in the right state of mind to be improvising jokes, you're going to deliver your jokes correctly. And so I said, that my previous stage name was White Trashy Ray, because Fancy Ray was there watching me. And he liked that. And then from the first joke was like, I have always felt very comfortable around Black people, because I'm the black sheep of my family. And then people laughed. Like, it was like a decent, I mean, there wasn't that many people there, so it wasn't like a huge laugh, but like everybody that was there was laughing. And I was just like, whoa, that was like a bigger response than I thought. And then the joke after joke after joke, they all laughed. And then the fetus soup joke, and I was like, I couldn't let it go. I didn't just be like, okay, that one sucks, moving along. I was like, no. You guys have to understand how funny fetus soup really is. I'm going to make you understand how funny fetus soup actually fucking is. That was like my mentality. And then I just tripled down on it, and bomb. It just got worse and worse as I did it. And then I moved past that joke and moved on to my other jokes, and we were right back where we were. Everybody's with me. Everybody's laughing at each joke. So it's just the fetus soup joke, which has been every time I've ever done a set that includes that, it's always gotten the same response. I just refuse to stop talking about it. I don't know. For me, it's really, really, it's not even that it's funny. It's just like, it's like just a attention grabbing weird thing, All right. Anyway, so right. Yeah, but that was so overall, like, that was a perfectly okay set. And if there was a bigger, like, if I had done that in the middle of the, the biggest moment in the night, then I would have gone well, or like I would have gotten a lot of laughs. Unless I got nervous and didn't deliver it the same way. But anyways, and then there's the shows, talking with Andrew Branson, just knowing Andrew Branson is somebody that can have a business conversation. knowing that's like valuable information. You know what I mean? That's like when you're like playing poker and like you've been going to the poker room for 2 months, and now you know that guy is a fish and that guy is a pro. And so when you walk in the door, you already have an advantage over somebody that's coming there for the first time. You know, it's like, okay, if you want to talk business with somebody, Andrew Branson is capable of that, whereas a lot of comedians are not. They will waste your time, bullshit after bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. And that's why they became comedians. So you can't be upset about that. But Andrew Branson is somebody that actually will have a serious conversation about business. So that's great. This is the type of thing, like these intangible assets that I'm abandoning, basically. And it's, of course, I could say, oh, no, I don't have to abandon it. I can come back, or I can do it remotely, or I can keep building on it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, no, you cannot. Maybe you can, maybe if that happens, great. But like every time I've ever abandoned my life in Beijing and in Minneapolis and Colorado, and I always think that, oh, I can keep it going. Like I can, but no, it's fucking, no, it's over. Let it go. Even moving from South Minneapolis to Northeast Minneapolis, my whole life in South Minneapolis, I knew a lot of people. I had tons of friends. I couldn't walk down the street without running into 5 people that I knew and that knew me and liked me, and that we were friends, and that we would occasionally hang out, and they would invite me to things and blah, blah. And then I moved up here and like just start over from nothing. Just the difference between North Minneapolis and South Minneapolis. So the idea that I'm going to move to Taiwan and keep shit going that I've got going in Northeast Minneapolis is fucking not going to happen. No way. So let's see here. Where was I? Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, basically what happened is I wrote a bunch of jokes. They went over well. A bunch of attractive women followed me on Instagram. I met somebody that's capable of doing the business of comedy. We're making some progress with like putting out these videos that some people seem to like. I'm getting like random new followers on Instagram. We got retweeted by re-reeled by like a pretty famous comedian. We still are potentially able to work with David Harris. I'm probing all of these casinos, the casino circuit in the country and throughout the country. So like that's kind of, it's a lot to abandon. It's a lot of really good, like positive momentum to abandon, but it's also not enough to the point where if that's all I had, if I didn't have this like go to Taiwan thing going on, then I would be like, fuck, I don't know. Is this going anywhere? Like, I feel like maybe I could be like hacking away at this 5 years from now and have not made any actual progress. And there are other significant reasons why a complete and total environmental change could do me good. Like the fact that a lot of the people I know here are drug users or alcoholics, or fucking thieves, or like in the fact that like Taiwanese people, on the whole, on average, are so much more wholesome and rule abiding and common sense oriented than Americans. So like just being around them, you become a better person. maybe less interesting, maybe more boring, maybe less personality, maybe not as funny, maybe not as able to do a stand-up routine, but less of a drug addicted criminal loser. So yeah, there's some good reasons to just go do a complete environmental change. Oh, also I'm like suicidal. I'm like constantly thinking about killing myself. So, you know, what's the worst that can happen if you go if you're in a place where you're suicidal and like you go to a completely different place? Like it can't get worse. Unless you kill yourself. That it can get worse, but just in that one way. But that's you could do that at either place. But I don't know. I mean, I guess the main thing is like just progress never feels the way you think it should. It's never like this laser beam, just like zero resistance. Everything is perfect. And so, like, this is what progress feels like. We're like, there's good things happening, and then nothing happens, and then a bad thing happens, but then more good things happen, and like that. So it just feels like, okay, we're in that cycle where like good things are occasionally happening. Like every couple days we have something good happens. So just stay in there. Just stay in the shit. Don't run away. Is kind of my thinking. Damn, that's painful to say because now that I say it like that, I really do feel like it's the same like when I was at Legendary Spice. It was like there were moments when I was like, this fucking owner is stupid. He is impossible to work with. This is never going anywhere for me or anybody. And I was just like, just fucking chill. Just be patient. And I think for me personally, I benefited a lot from being patient. I was right in the end. It wasn't going anywhere. The owner is impossible to work with, but for me personally, I gained a experience that I wouldn't have been able to have otherwise. So maybe this is one of those like just be patient. Just not everything is perfect. A lot of things suck. You just have to stick with it for now, and eventually a lot of these people that you think are like the gatekeepers, you'll find they're not the gatekeepers. That actually you can just get right past them and then establish yourself as the gatekeeper if that's what you so choose to do, with zero, like, if you just stick around long enough to just understand the situation, it just becomes like, oh, like obviously this is who is in charge of, this is who makes this decision, and this is who makes this decision, and this is who makes this decision, and all of them like know me and have more respect for my ability to do things than they do with each other even. So I can just go tell them, hey guys, we're doing X, Y, and Z, and they'll just do it. Whereas like when you first get into that same situation, you're just sitting there like, when are you going to put me on? So that fucking said, in terms of like just stay in the shit mentality, like I could say the same thing about the moving to Taiwan. And not because it's like stay in the shit of my original like studying geopolitics and living in Taiwan and all that bullshit and like Chinese. Not that at all. It's just in terms of starting this business. It's like in terms of going and meeting people that do digital marketing and trying to establish contacts and relationships with people who do digital marketing. Going directly, just purely on the business side, as opposed to like doing this other comedy thing, which can be separate from the AI chatbots. But then we're adding the chatbots, the AI as like an enabling factor. Where no, but like if I'm dealing with digital marketing companies in Taiwan, and we just purely do digital marketing, so it's like it's also like a just stay in the shit sort of but like from this the shit that I was in before Ali and Mo moved in here, in terms of like generative engine optimization. Because if I were to, first of all, write in Chinese about generative engine optimization, or I don't have to write, I could just translate. Which last time ChatGPT refused to translate one of the last article I tried to translate, it refused to because it said it was a copyright infringement. So the first thing is to get around that. But ultimately, if I'm outputting these translated versions of articles about generative engine optimization, and offering them to these Taiwanese SEO companies, and offering to work with Taiwanese SEO companies, and giving them demos, and then giving demos to people that are potentially their clients, and then being able to offer them the ability to help companies in Taiwan that are exporting offer a larger number of just to improve the SEO and overall marketing of Taiwanese companies that are exporting to English speaking markets, and being able to offer that to digital marketing companies which might have multiple such export oriented clients. That's all like very high. There's a lot of potential there. And it has nothing to do with comedy. It has nothing to do with getting drunk or doing drugs or telling jokes. And it also doesn't have to do anything to do with meeting sexy women. But you know what? When you're in Taiwan, you don't have a problem meeting sexy women. There's sexy women everywhere. And for the most part, they're pretty easy to meet, especially if you are a white dude that speaks Chinese. So we don't have to go trying to cultivate a harem of chuckle fuckers. Okay. All of that said, suddenly I wanna make a Danbing directory for Taoyuan instead of Hualien. I guess the issue with Hualien is that with Taoyuan, it's like if you fuck up your first like 10 ones, like if you're figuring out how to do this for the first 10, there's still another infinite number more to do. But if you're dealing with Hualien, you might be done at 10. And then it's just like, okay, what do I do now? Do I add more features? Do I make it better somehow? I wonder if ChatGPT can give me an answer to my yearning questions, my questions of yearn. And honestly, I mean, again, the thing is, like, as much as it's like, oh, stay in the shit, and we're making progress. Oh, we're gonna do comedy shows and stuff like that. But like, man, these motherfuckers go out every night and come back drunk as shit at like 4 in the morning. And like anytime we go anywhere, it's like fingers crossed we make it back in one piece. And it's just too much. It's just like constant chaos. Like I need to get the fuck away from here and away from these psychopaths. So, but they're also like, I mean, I wouldn't be like focused on comedy without them. It would be like just something I occasionally fuck around with here and there. It's only so the focus on comedy like comes in a package with being like having to deal with these complete fucking nut jobs every single day. Let's go, bitch. Also, there's some really nice things about Taiwan, although possibly being in Hualien will negate them. But one thing I loved about Taiwan was like you just walk down the street and then you have like these electronics markets that are like the best electronics in the world, and they're so cheap. It's insane. Like you come back to America and spend $200 on like a pair of earphones that are way less quality than what you can go buy for like $5 in Taiwan. And again, yeah, and like the Danbing and the milk tea and the night markets. There's a lot of like just in terms of just enjoy and the weather. So there's going to be a lot of things to enjoy in Taiwan. I don't know. Maybe I should start in Taoyuan and then move to Hualien after I have already like gone and tried to meet people face to face in Taoyuan for a while instead of going to Hualien where I'm going to be like isolated and it's going to be hard to get to the major cities. And that might be a good idea, honestly. Start in the more central place and then move to the more isolated place rather than the other way around. Every other time in my whole life, I always start in the isolated place and then move to the center. Where the fuck is the input so that I can speak in? I want to speak in. Where is the? Oh, fuck this shit. Okay, whatever. Just wait. Wei ni hao. Wei ni hao. Yeah, I don't know why my keyboard input is only set to. Okay, I know how to do this. Accessibility. Dictation. No, it's not it. Okay. Settings. God damn it. This is where I was to begin with. Dictation. Here we go. Got it. Son of a bitch. Okay, son of a bitch. Chinese traditional, we got it. Even though you tried to stop me. But I'm coming anyways. Bitch Yellow Wolf is styling. 请问桃园有多少单饼店？ Yep, awesome. 喂，你好。Son of bitch. Okay, fucking piece of fucking. 喂，你好。喂，你好。Okay, you want me to use simplified characters? I'll use simplified characters. I don't give a fuck. I give 0 fucks. God damn, my keyboard won't. It's just accessibility, text to speech, keyboard and text input. Was that where change from traditional Chinese to simplified Chinese? Okay. Was that going to work now? Let's find out. 喂，你好. Good enough. We'll fuck with it. I don't care. I don't need characters. What it's responding in traditional characters. What here? 桃园有多少单饼店？单饼，鸡蛋的蛋，单饼。Son of bitch. Never mind. "大概有多少单饼店？" "如果你是问桃园大概多少小单饼店、传统早餐店、汽车、探车、粉酱单饼那种，给你一个合理区间估算，大概1000到2000家之间。请做同样的算，为了花莲 That is not what I see. 早餐店大概330。那桃园大概会有多少广东式的就粤语菜，就点心那种120到200，然后小蛋饼店有1000到2000，在桃园。花莲会有多少粤语菜的餐厅？Not depressed. Not depressed vegetables. Cantonese vegetables. 花莲应该有8到15个。OK OK。Whoops! I just closed that out. I did not mean to close that out. The chat GPT there. Okay, let's find out. Let's go ahead and what am I doing? Hualien Yu Cai. Son of a bitch. 请你猜测，台湾整个台湾有多少个港式餐厅？的dim sum。从联评网站店铺列表，但是主要城市的港式餐厅就几十家以上存在，没有官方网站统计数据，精准指出台湾港式餐厅总数，加上各地独立店与连锁分店，全台港式餐厅总数可以合理估计在几十到百余家之间，但不是确切数字。好的。那么I am not finding, like, if I Google search for Cantonese food, I wonder if I search in English, seeing as I just switched talking English. Let's go. What day is it, by the way? What year is it? Who is the president? What is Netanyahu AI? Hello, can I speak in English to this thing? No, I cannot. Fuck. It's very just switching back and forth for the dictation is not it's not cool. What the fuck was I doing? Okay. Cantonese restaurant. Hualien, Taiwan. Dim sum. I should really search for dim sum instead of Cantonese, right? Hao Zheng Dian.关于好中店最新消息，菜单介绍，美味精选，店内报警联络我们。You know what I'm noticing about this website? No chatbot. What is this? 高雄港式饮茶. Is that a company? Hey, it is daytime in Taiwan. I can call these fuckers and be like, sup? Oh my god, the view. But look at this. Is that real expensive? I'll never be able to eat here. I need to start charging people more. I need to eat at these places. This is a nice place. Look at that, man. Are they up high though? Is that what if they're like on the 20th floor and they have like a view like that on the restaurant? That would be so sweet. Oh, okay. So they're a 分店介绍. I'm gonna call them. Why not? So what the flower people say? Hose and dim dian com dian Taiwan hung. How do you say forward slash in Chinese? Son of a bitch. How do you say forward slash in Chinese? You know, before when I lived in Taiwan, I met Li Denghui. And the restaurant that we ate a banquet with him was very much like this one. Now, I should not have met Li Donghui. There's no reason for me to meet him. I didn't even know who he was at the time. It was stupid for me to be there. What is the opinion for this character? So classy. Okay, anyways. So do they have a
Okay, they got Kaohsiung, they have Jiayi, they have Kaohsiung. They have three places in Kaohsiung. They got Pingdong, two in Pingdong. They got Hualien. Let's call Hualien. How I call Corner Underground. That's right. Okay. Am I though? I can't even get a hold of them. I can't even call them. Maybe that's like a good reason to. It kind of seems like they were gatekeepers. The people that were set up at Comedy Corner Underground were comedy gatekeepers in Minneapolis, and they're not trying to let anybody else get into the gatekeeping game. They're gatekeeping the gatekeeping. But, with that being at Whitey's, that is fuck. I don't know what to say. How do I call this number? You know what I should really check on is like, do you think? Um, is it typically cheaper to fly from the US to Taiwan or from the US to the Philippines? Son of a bitch. Well, that was fucking stupid of me to buy a ticket to Taiwan. I should have just bought a ticket to the Philippines. So oh fuck, I wish I would have realized this 10 hours ago. So Philippines, and then you buy a round trip ticket from the Philippines to Taiwan, and then you definitely get, and then it looks like, I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say, which doesn't really matter, but so then instead of having to like do a visa run to, like, your visa run is already built in, is what I'm trying to say. Damn it, I wish I would have realized this. So stupid. What time is it? What time did I book that shit? Yeah, it's too late. It's been more than 24 hours.